Don't you think it's time to remember about our friendly neighbor Spider-Man? More precisely, about his alternative versions. I must say that he has enough alternative versions from other universes, timelines, clones, characters that inherited his abilities. So these are the top 10 most interesting versions of Spider-Man. In the meantime, subscribe to my channel to keep abreast of the latest releases. Perfect Spider-Man. This version of Spider-Man now exists in the main universe, but then what place is he in this alternative version? The fact is that in the events of 2013-2014, Dr. Octavius moved his mind to Peter Parker's body and himself locked him in a dying body. Well, you understand that all this ended with the death of Peter. Thus in 2013, Otto Octavius became a Spider-Man, a more cruel version of a friendly neighbor. The mad scientist created bots that helped him monitor the situation in the city and fight crime. So we can say that the work of the hero was done with greater productivity. It was interesting for me to watch Otto trying to be Peter, and everyone around was very surprised by the sharp metamorphoses in the character of Parker. After all, he was often confused. And here, take it, self-organization. In addition, he began to appreciate personal space more. Peter, Spectre is a war of infinity. I was not mistaken, it was a war, not a war. If you remember, I had a video about this line of comics, where it was told that Gamora used the Stones of Infinity, combining the universes and then dividing them in half. As a result, a changed world was created in which many characters mixed with each other, and so we got Iron Man Thor, Peter Spectre, the hybrid of the Spider-Moon Knight, and many other interesting characters. For the most part, this is of course the Moon Knight, who has some abilities of a spider. After the murder of Aunt May and Uncle Ben by the Green Goblin, he was resurrected as a Master Weaver. He made him his avatar and gave him the powers of a spider. He became a Ragnarok Knight who fights criminals at night, and during the day he runs a company. He has both superpowers and money. Venomverse. Venomverse is a limited edition of the 17th year, which appeared after the successful Spider-Verse series in 2014. The essence of the comic was that Venom from the main universe was hired by Doctor Strange to help in the war of venoms and poisons. Poisons are creatures that feed on symbiotes. They attached to the heroes, absorbed their symbiotes, and became their perverted versions. And so Eddie Brock joined the whole squad of Venom carriers who arrived here from all over the universe. Here is Captain America, Deadpool, Doctor Strange, Ghostbuster, Spider-Man, and many others. Poisons tried to ambush them. And since they have the ability to pretend to be anyone, one of them pretends to be Aunt May, which allows him to take control of Peter Parker's body. So in the Spider's arsenal, new poison abilities are added. He can absorb venom. In addition, the poisons establish a connection only with one carrier. They do not jump from one to another. However, with all their incredible abilities, Peter dies from an explosion because the Great Force does not protect him from super powerful explosions. Goblin Earth 21-205. This Spider-Man story began the same way as Peter Parker's from Earth 616, but everything went wrong when Gwen Stacy was killed. Spidey kills the Green Goblin, then takes his place. Then his heirs, vampires who hunt for spider totems, aimed at him, so Peter has the abilities of a spider, but with the equipment of a goblin. So many people may think that he looks like Hobgoblin, Spider-Man, Earth. 11-2580. This is Peter's version of literally a cluster of spiders that are united by one mind, and they are formed into one body. This happened during an unsuccessful experiment. When Peter invited Max Modell to his laboratory horizon, they observed huge colonies of spiders, which the module was exposed to radiation, under which Parker himself accidentally fell. As a result, he was absorbed, but his consciousness remained untouched. United by his personality, they began to fight for justice. Where do spiders get their strength from? But they can change their form and attack with what they need. Plus, they are a walking nightmare for arachnophobes. Spider-Side is one of the clones from the saga of clones. Like the rest, he believed that he was a real Peter, fought with others, Ben, Rayleigh, and Kind. However, it turned out that he was created as a jackal in order to kill other clones. Also, he had abilities that were superior to Parker himself. The most interesting thing is the ability to influence its molecular structure. It can stretch like Mr. Fantastic, change shape, control its density, turn itself partially into a liquid. It is surprising that other copies managed to survive it. So how did he die? He fell off the roof of Daily Bugle. What a twist. Anansi from the Fairy Tale of Spider-Man. This limit was the second of 2 in 2007, and in it we were told about Anansi, the first Spider-Man. If you are familiar with African mythology, then maybe you have even heard about him. Those who read the American Gods of Diamond, he may also be familiar. Anansi is a god deceiver who took the form of a spider. In Marvel, Kwaku Anansi was the first Spider-Man who sold himself to the God of Heaven in exchange for wisdom. which he passed on to the spiders, from which he received friendship and help. A little strange, isn't it? But knowledge is power, and Nancy now knows a lot. The Spider-Boy is a version of Spider-Man from the Amalgam Universe, where the heroes of Marvel and DC were combined into one after the 90s crossover. The character's name is Peter Ross, and he is a combination of Spider-Man and Superboy. Cadmus created a clone of Spider-Man, who was later brought up by Thaddeus Ross. He has several abilities and superpowers that he likes to use. While working for Cadmus, he fights various monsters created by genetics. And then he met Mary Jane, and a much more interesting adventure began in his personal life. Marriage. Spider-Man 2099. In the future, Spider-Man became Miguel Hara, the leading scientist of the mega corporation Alchemax. He worked on a device that would allow the DNA of Spider-Man to be combined. Alchemax took advantage of the preliminary results of Miguel's work against his will. Tests were carried out on a living person. And when he died, Hara decided to leave this project forever. Only then did he find out that the Alchemax Corporation planted him on his own drug production. Miguel entered the laboratory and tried to carry out a genetic operation that would cure his addiction. Unfortunately, he did not know that his envious colleague changed the parameters of the device, tuning it to reproduce the spider's DNA. This time the experiment was successful, and Miguel turned into the Spider-Man of the future. However, he did not become a puppet of the mega corporation, and on the other hand, led the fight against Alchemax. What a wonderful name. This is another god worshipped by the people of Peru. The upper part of his body is like a man's, but everything below is the body of a spider. The cruel god was seized by the authorities and kept underwater in a huge container. Later, he joined the team of the Dark Avengers of Osborn, and even was a Spider-Man. People liked him because he is the embodiment of chaos, which cannot die because he is a god. Why is he in the first place? Yes, because he is immortal and almost invulnerable. His enemies are definitely not lucky. That's all for me. I agree that each alternative version has its own cool features. What kind of imagination do you need to come up with this? Tell me in the comments which version you like the most and why. Thanks for watching. See you soon.